Farmington Hills with the Get Downsized program.
Excellent.
I forced Todd to make this thing happen.
Did you?
Initiated.
I told him, I said, we need to learn how to eat it instead of having trouble eating fishes and poultry.
Excellent.
So,
He's having a major problem with chicken.
Okay.
Can't get it to
Can you?
right.
All right. Well, can you have breading? Can they have breading?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's hi. I'm Annette Solomon, and I'm with the Downsized program as well. And I'm here because they make us come, and because we have a meal plan, and because I need to learn how to eat better. Good. Good.
I'm Holly Fisher. I'm also with the Get Downsized program, and I'm up for some new tips, particularly if you can make me like kale.
Okay, good. And it's not like we're in some rush. I have to get it all out. It's because I want to share so much with you, and we only have a certain time frame. But I am so excited about this. I can't tell you. I have this thing about food. I'm Italian. Okay, so I grew up in an Italian family, and we had an Italian market growing up, and it was always about food. Everything was always centered around the kitchen. And I went through every way of eating. I didn't know it was going to be a lecture 25 years later, but I tried. There's no red meat, there's no dairy, the vegan, the vegetarian, the blah, 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 the no soda pops, drinking only soda pops. I was a wedding cake designer. I needed the energy. I tried everything that possibly you could do for your diet. And I really think, God bless, in the last 10 years, I have tweaked it to make it really something that you can eat without being worried about food. A lot of times people that are trying to lose weight are always counting calories, or it becomes like an obsession. I deal with a lot of anorexic people, and I deal with people that are highly obese that are going through the bariatric surgery. So I want to remind people that food, we have to eat every single day. Like a chore, it's enjoy it, okay? And I always have to say that the first bite of anything is the best bite. Does anyone believe in that? Like when you are craving this cookie that your mom just made for the holiday, you just have that one bite, and you kind of, I teach my students and clients to savor that bite, to enjoy it, and just think of the memories that it's stirring up, or how it feels in your mouth, or the saltiness, or the sweetness of it, and that's all you really need. After a while, I promise you, you will not want the Oreo cookies, you will not want the chips, you will not want the soda pops. How do I know this? Because I was one of the people that ate a certain way, and when I changed my diet, I had to change my diet. I got real sick, and we all have our stories to tell of how we become who we are. But together, starting a life together, of making supper together, to me, the kitchen is where everything centers around. Who's Italian here? You know, I'm sure everyone in your family is centered around the kitchen, and it's just, like you talk about your day, hey baby, how was your day? I have this thing about holding a knife, and whatever you're thinking about is what is infused in the food. Okay, so first of all, I like to teach you some tips of putting a damp paper towel on the counter so your cutting board doesn't slide. And that way you don't have a chance of cutting yourself. And whenever you're holding a knife, I always recommend, some people hold it like this, some people hold it like that, some people hold it like this. The best way to hold a knife is by taking your finger and your thumb, and then you pinch the blade, and then with your other 3 fingers you wrap around, and just like in baseball or golf or tennis, it becomes an extension of my arm. I'm right-handed, so I put my left hip in, and the longest finger on your opposite hand, he's the leader of the pack, okay? No one goes in front of him, no one goes next to him, they all hang out behind him. And you don't think of me, Italian, what's the matter with you, huh? You know this expression? Think of that and pinch your hand and then go over, and when you're cutting, you don't have to worry about chopping your finger or your thumb that's hanging out over there. So, if you're making supper like that and chopping your vegetables, that's causing anxiety, it's shrugging, it's making noise, and you're supposed to be saying, hey baby, how are you? How was your day? It's a rocking motion back and forth, okay? And it's methodical, it's relaxing, you have a beautiful kitchen, beautiful appliances, a glass of wine, your music playing. And being in the kitchen and preparing food to me is so much better than going to a restaurant. And so to me, a home-cooked meal is my favorite restaurant. Because it's made with love, first of all. It's made with fresh ingredients from the local farmer's market, all from scratch. Everything I know is in there is going into my body, and that's what I want you guys to hopefully produce. Who doesn't cook at home? Who does not cook at home? Everyone cooks at home? Makes meal? Okay, good. Glad to hear that. All right, so what I went ahead and made was roasted salmon. And those of you who don't like salmon, is there anybody here that doesn't like salmon? Source that has a high turnover. You want to make sure that the orange coloring in the salmon is from natural feed, that it hasn't been injected with food dye, because we eat with our eyes. We want to see things bright and colorful. If you saw a real salmon fillet, it's really like pale, fleshy color that's not attractive, so that's why they inject it. So make sure wherever you're buying it, it's a natural coloring, or it's through their diet, the color is that color. Okay? Also, when you buy fish, you should smell it, and fish should have no aroma whatsoever. If it has an aroma, and aroma I mean in a bad way, you don't throw it in the rubbish, you take it back to the butcher and say, okay, something's wrong with this. I just bought it yesterday and it has a really strong smell. Salmon does not smell. I also want to make sure when you buy the salmon, you remove the skin, and you cook without the skin is what my recommendation is. Into your diet. My whole way of eating, my whole philosophy is about a holistic approach to living. It's about reaching for food as your fuel, and it's about picking whole grains, lean cuts of meats, seasonal and locally grown vegetables and fruits, versus saying, okay, I want a watermelon right now. Where am I going to watermelon right now? Is it going to be good? So right now, you go to the farmer's market, and what's available is Brussels sprouts and rutabaga and parsnips and things that are going to taste sweet because that's the time of year that they're supposed to be eaten, versus trying to have, right now apples are okay, but if you taste apples now, how was your apple? Is it good?
Yeah,
Is it getting a little bit mealy?
they're starting to.
So to me, I'd rather let go of the apples and maybe have a pomegranate now, or something that's more seasonal, and enjoy that in its right, right. Before I'm going to show you how to cook the salmon, I'm going to talk to you about whole grain quinoa, because I want it to be cooking. Cooking is about, I don't know, it's about not being in the kitchen all day long. It's a constant state of readiness, and there's a term that we use, it's called mise en place. It's French, and it means to put in place. So I have everything kind of measured out and everything in front of me before I start running around the kitchen, and this is going to take 18 minutes. So while this is cooking, I can be chit-chatting, okay? So we're going to use our time properly. The other thing is using the proper utensil for the proper job. If you are doing whole grains, brown rice, quinoa, millet, any of the grains, I recommend a dry measuring cup, okay? And it's 1 cup of dry to 2 cups of liquid. And when you're measuring liquid, you want to use something like this, which is obviously a liquid measuring cup. I can put 2 cups of water in here, but it won't be accurate, okay? So try to use a proper device. The other thing is called a microplane grater. And if anyone doesn't have these, they sell them at Bed Bath & Beyond, and you get a 20% coupon in the mail, and they're not that expensive. But it's a microplane grater. This is going to take the yellow part of the lemon, or the orange part of the orange, or the green part of the lime. It takes all that coloring, which is all the flavor and the essential oils, and it's going to impart really good flavor into your food without just adding nice freshness, and it's going to just taste so much more refreshing. The thing about the microplane grater is when you grate it, it just takes the colored part, and it leaves behind the white part, which is the pith, which is bitter. Okay? So you go like this, and you get this all ready. And if, let's say that one day you're presented with 50 oranges or 50 lemons, you can have fun just, getting all the zest off of it. And then what you do is you roll this. I put my leg behind like a karate chop, and you roll vigorously, really, really roll it and push down. And what that's going to do is break apart like the tendons and the fibers of the orange or the lemon or the lime, and then when you go to juice it, just pours right out. But I recommend you can take this, put it in a little airtight container, and put it in the freezer. And when you want lemon zest or lemon juice, it's already ready to rock and roll for you. A lot of times when you are in the kitchen, if you don't prepare in advance, there's a saying I just heard on the radio. If you fail to prepare, you're preparing to fail. Is that the saying how it goes? Yeah. Something like that. I don't know if it goes that way.
It's John Wooden.
Is it?
Football coach. The basketball coach who
Okay, so I know who he is. He has great quotes. Okay, so his quote was about, it's true. If I don't think, I always put things in my pocketbook all day long. I walk around with these containers in the reusable bags that you get at Whole Foods, that's Mother Earth friendly. But I constantly have food with me, or in my pocketbook, because if you don't, does anyone have, like when they don't eat, they get a little irritable? I do. I know I do. I have to warn people. I'm like, remember I told you I get irritable? I'm starting to get that way. So in order to avoid that, because you never know traffic or what's going to happen next, you always should have food with you, especially you kids right here. I mean, I honestly, I believe, and I hope that Mandy and you are the same way, I believe in 5 or 6 meals a day. Okay, baby meals, okay? So you graze all day long, but if you're getting, oh my God, I'm an hour behind, but it's your time to eat,
Right.
then you might reach for something that's not the best choice. So I do recommend glass containers versus plastic.
They have them at Costco, right?
Yep, they have them at Costco. You can buy a whole set of them. It's a little bit expensive, but you can read about why to choose glass over plastic. That's a negative approach, but I want you to read about it because glass is so much better. And these can go in the freezer, so you can freeze food and then go in the dishwasher and there's no issue. Okay, so try to buy the glass ones, okay? But I always recommend this, and then if I have some Brussels sprouts left over or some whatever I want, I make a little mixture, add some olive oil and some apple cider vinegar or lemon juice, and then I put it in my little bag, and my fork, and my apple, and my almond butter, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm on the road, and it's cold now, so you have to worry about ice packs. And then all of a sudden I'm at the stoplight, or hopefully somewhere where you can eat, and you have a bite, you just feel so much better. And knowing that it's good food that you're energizing yourself with. So, especially when you're making supper, my thing is cook once and eat 3 or 4 times. okay? Because you're already making the quinoa, why not make 4 cups of it and have some in your omelet the next day? Or make it the next day and make it in a chicken wrap with like a kale. I'm gonna talk about kale, but kale you can steam and you can put cooked quinoa and grilled vegetables and grilled chicken and wrap it up and you have like a cabbage roll almost. In big jars, and you go to Whole Foods or wherever, there's a natural patch in Ferndale that's really good prices. But you buy quinoa. Now Costco sells quinoa. Costco now sells, I'm so excited, I saw it today for the first time, short grain brown rice. And if you ever had short grain brown rice, it's real nutty. So what I do is I have a jar full of quinoa, a jar full of short grain brown rice, a jar full of farro, F-A-R-R-O. Have you had this? F-A-R-R-O is a great grain. There's kamut, there's millet, M-I-L-L-E-T. It's fabulous. Spelt.
They have
So
bread.
those of you, is anyone gluten-free here or needs to be gluten-free? Okay, I know I am not gluten-free, but I believe in the gluten-free diet. This has no gluten. This is high protein, high fiber. It has the full chain of amino acids, so it's considered, like, you could have this instead of meat. This is, if Jason and I had lunch together and we both worked out together, but he had the quinoa and I had the white flour, I'm gonna be like, oh my God, I just want to take a nap. I'm like, come on, throw your pan and let it dry after I buy it, okay? Then after I buy it and wash it, I put it into a jar like this. I take 4 cups of quinoa here. I mise en place and organize my 8 cups of water, because it's 1 cup to 2 cups of water. If you want to get more antioxidants in your diet, you can put green tea. You can brew green tea. You can brew jasmine tea. You can make a vegetable stock with apples and sweet potatoes and carrots and onions and garlic and make a broth and put that in there. That will impart some flavor into your food. And what you're doing now is a dry toast. If you all listen, can you hear?
So there's no water.
There's no water. It's a completely dry toast. And what happens is this dry toast, if you do it with your brown rice, it's such a hot, dry heat that it actually cracks the seed. And then when the water goes in, it just shoots right into that seed, so you have nice individual kernels and grains of rice or the quinoa. It's going to steam, so you have to be real careful. And whenever you're stirring, I don't know if you guys can see, but when you're stirring something that's being toasted, if I stir in a circle, I'm going to scorch the center. If I stir back and forth, the edge, you hold like a pencil, and you stir in a figure 8, and that gets everything, and nothing scorches. So what you do now is, so right now, let's say you come home, you put it to a simmer, and then you put a lid on it and 18 minutes on the clock. So that's quinoa. Any grain is the same exact way. This is just
And
quinoa.
brown rice.
And brown rice, and all the grains that I mentioned before.